Chapter 5. Oneness is Love. To not question creation or destiny, or whatever was responsible for life, was hard. Either way, I had always believed that if humankind could not even understand itself, how could it understand the simultaneous existence of millions of life forms on our planet? How could creation be understood? I had always preferred to observe and learn from the confrontations creation always laid out before me, rather than try to explain something that, even if answered, I would probably not understand anyhow. My mind marveled at the fact that between the 2 seconds it took to change lanes on the freeway while riding back to Los Angeles, thousands of life forms had been born and many had passed. Just as it was night elsewhere, it was day here. The simultaneous existence of countless living entities had always made me aware that I was only one in billions living at this time, and that I was not creation, but of the created within it. It was still early morning when Rahedra and I arrived in LA ahead of the traffic. We stopped off at my apartment. I took some clothes, and on the way out I left the doorknob inside the door one final time, but not in the planter as I had always done, and which Rahedra had seen me do the week before. After all, I was under the impression that after the occurrence I would be living at freedom. I loaded my things into the car and ran back up to my landlady's house next door to settle my account. As for my belongings, they were to be collected by someone from Freedom while we were on our camping trip. We then began our drive to the Sierra Mountains. "So you were probably a teenage psychic?" I asked. "Sort of. I never told anyone until I was about 20 or so. I was walking through downtown San Diego with a girlfriend, and I saw this elderly man crossing a street. For no apparent reason, I was compelled to yell, 'Hurry up!' to him as he was crossing toward me. He heard me as suddenly a car came screeching around the corner. The man was able to move quickly and unexpectedly out of the way of the speeding car. 'Oh, thank you, young lady,' he kept saying to me. I personally wasn't sure how I knew the car was coming. Lesser events, like knowing when a phone was going to ring or what someone was going to say, I had picked up psychically before. But this, I had actually saved someone's life. When we were leaving, he kissed my hand in gratitude. I told him not to worry, that it was nothing, but my girlfriend kept insisting it was a miracle I had known the car was coming. I was chilled and confused for several days. Soon after, I went to a bookshop to learn more. That led me through much personal study and research. I learned that my command to that man to move was power of suggestion, though I didn't know I was that strong at it. Just knowing the car was coming was a sense of what was happening before it happened, or precognition. After years of studying on my own, reading books, attending lectures, and some private classes, I was at a seminar when I met Dr. Jason. "How about him?" I asked. He said that he became fascinated in the unknown when he was fairly young, and that he had dreams that later turned out to be visions of things that occurred. He entered the field of paranormal phenomenon with a giant urge to research the future, present, and past. He met his wife, who was a counselor in this field. He loved her and she him until her death, which he said came through natural causes. When a person is astral projecting, are they in the same dimension as those who are in spirit? Sort of. It's like a part of the same dimension. Since they are pure spirit, and the person astral projecting is only a conscious body attached to a physical body, there are still some limitations. When a person is astral projecting, they may travel as a spirit, but must always return to their body. The spirit is there permanently in that dimension, unless it reincarnates. The astral traveler is there temporarily. The pure spirit is in its true home, so it has the option to be anywhere in its home it desires. But the astral projectionist is still attached to a body. It's like a visitor to what was and what will again someday be its true home. But in the meantime, it can only occupy those areas designated for temporary visitors. Do you follow? Yeah, I think so. I've got another question too, but I think I'll save it for after we see the mountains and the lake. The drive up was beautiful. Cruising up the winding roads with the top down was invigorating. The sky grew bluer as we climbed higher into the mountains. The air became cleaner and fresher with every turn on the road that led us further and higher up. We had lunch near the lake and walked around for an hour or so, browsing and acting like any other curious tourists. We found a small park near the edge of the lake where we sat and enjoyed the coolness of a breeze that had the tree leaves dancing about in wonder. "What time is it?" I asked. "Time to enjoy the next few days here in the beauty of nature," she replied. I agreed, so we drove leisurely around the entire lake again until we settled into the campground. "Can I ask you a question?" "Sure," she said. "It's the one I saved from this morning." "Okay." "Tell me what it feels like when you can actually move yourself out of your body," I asked as I wondered what kinds of things she thought about. It was a strange but gratifying feeling to know I didn't need to explain anything to her. Realizing she already knew, though, made me question what exactly did she know. Her reading my occasional thoughts on one hand had excited me, yet I did feel shy about her knowing that she was now a constant and pleasurable part of my thoughts. I started to concentrate on love. "Love, love," I called from inside my mind. "Love," she said, "love. Now, would you like to know what it feels like to astral project?" I nodded, still amazed at how she could actually hear me thinking, but so pleased that she had looked straight into my eyes and heart when she had said love. A few moments of silence passed. In spirit, she and I were becoming one, together in the beautiful realm of love. She touched my face with a caress unlike anything I had ever felt before. I felt her spirit joined to mine. And when my mind went racing with visions of color and beauty, I knew I was more awake to creation, my soul, and to love than ever before. "I love you," I said for the very first time. I love you, she smiled, and remember that as I have loved you throughout the ages, so will I love you throughout all the futures still to come, for our love is truly forever. Our love is a part of the love of our Creator, and love from the Creator is without end. Our love, spiritual love, is eternal. We embraced for a long while, as many wonderful feelings kept racing through my heart. I felt so much more alive than I had ever before. She looked in my eyes again and began to answer my question. Imagine a beautiful color that has never been on this earth, she said. I pondered. I don't think I can. I then realized that this was the answer about what was to come and how I was to travel. It was not explainable here in the physical realm, where it cannot be seen or experienced, but that I would have to experience what it was like to leave the human body while still alive within it. That would be the only way I could ever really know. Since Rehedra knew, but could not tell me herself, I realized that I was ready to do this, to travel to the occurrence, for the world, for freedom, for Rehedra, and for myself. I wanted to know what she had known, to be able to share with her, and to be able to have something in this life that could never be explained or understood. It would be something that we both would have within our souls, to share and enjoy together always. I would have to go where the beautiful color that has never been on this earth was, since I could not imagine it here. Once I did travel to see it for myself, I would not have to imagine it at all, because I would have seen it for myself. I would know what Rehedra knew, the wonder and magnificence of the higher domains of the human soul. I thought you would understand, she smiled.